Good morning, comic book fans. I'm your ever-loving host, Shorty, and today we are going to be reviewing Zorro, subtitle, Man of the Dead. It's a Zorro book from Sean Gordon Murphy, the artist and writer of it, but I wanted, before we get too far, bring attention to Mr. Simon Goff, I believe that's how I pronounce his name, who did the colours for this thing, and it's absolutely spectacular. I mean, I'm going to be talking about the artwork in a bit more detail later, but I can't stress enough that the colouring added so much to this one. Like, outstanding job. So, what do I like, what do I not like about it? Well, start off, the artwork is spectacular. I have been a fan of Sean Murphy's artwork for quite some time. There's times when he has been a reason why I've carried on reading something I usually wouldn't. He's the reason why I picked up stuff and absolutely loved it. I mean, I think his punk rock Jesus was a fantastic looking book that he kind of got lost in the weeds a little bit in. It was a really big story crammed into not enough issues. I think he could have either committed to a long form or just pick and choose from his moments. But it was still pretty cool. And then Tokyo Ghost, I want to say. I'm thinking Ghoul, but I think that's the manga one. Fantastic. The guy's got game. I mean, the Batman White Knight stuff, absolutely spectacular. Genuinely think he's a good artist, but not good enough sometimes. Plot holes, nice concept by the same company, I believe. I think it was Massive who did that one. Really nice idea. His artwork definitely elevated, but not to the point I was going to pick it up every month. This one, the artwork is just the best he's ever been. His knack for doing world and character all combined together to create a really genuine sense of place is spectacular. And here's where we talk about the colouring, because that adds so much rich depth to it. There is just beautiful panoramic shots in quite small places that just jump off the page. I mean, this artwork is some of the best I've seen, and I will say it is, I think, the best Sean Gordon Murphy has ever been. Simon Goff, this colorist, if he's not worked with him before, he should work with him all the time now. They have a fantastic working relationship based on what I'm seeing here, and they need to be embracing that. It's brilliant. The action sequences look spectacular, the character looks fantastic. There is wonderful moments where you're just like taking the detail on a pickup truck, and it's like, damn, that looks good. Everything looks good. It invites you to engage with the detail, but doesn't overwhelm you with it. It is spectacular looking. On to the actual story of it now. Zorro is a character which exists in popular consciousness in a variety of ways. I'm willing to bet an awful lot of people are thinking Antonio Banderas, which is absolutely fine. He is lush, like 10 out of 10. Not taking an argument on that one. He is amazing. But it's not just him. I mean, obviously, Anthony Hopkins. And various other media where he has turned up. So, Sean Murphy's kind of set himself a challenge here to make himself stand out. Like, what do you do to tell the story of Zorro where it isn't just the story of Zorro? I mean, the obvious answer is be Al Ewing and write El Sombra, but if you're not Al Ewing, that's probably going to get you some trouble. I mean, there's going to be some copyright issues for certain, and Al Ewing is not the kind of guy that would mess with that. He would take you out. So you've got to do something else, and he does manage it. He sets the place really nicely. It is a town that believes wholeheartedly that Zorro was a real person. Zorro being an alias, but the real guy who became Zorro was from this town. But then they have a nice little spur on that one, because it could have just been this like kind of cool idea about who would become the next Zorro. But there has to be a reason for that, and for this one it is a drug cartel taking over the town, forcing everyone to work to create poppy seeds and harvest poppies, and basically run the place completely. It is not an unusual take on it. I'm thinking of, like, Desperado, another Antonio Banderas movie with a similar kind of vibe, but that's not a complaint. Desperado is a brilliant film with a brilliant idea. In this particular case, we do have a few options on who's going to be the Zorro. There is some options which could be explored, and I'm not speaking too far off turn, I don't think, when I say the one we get in issue 1 is the obvious choice. It's not a bad thing. It's keyed up quite nicely. There are some interesting twists to this. Even though we're fairly sure we know who's going to be Zorro, when it turns out he is, there's still more to discover about the character who becomes Zorro and his place in the world. But there's also the fact that I don't think this is the be-all and end-all. I think there's some seeds of story in here which are going to lead into something which could be potentially outstanding. It could elevate it even more. I'm certainly intrigued about the concept and the promise of it, that I'm going to carry on reading it, but you can't really base a comic book, like a review of it, on what you think might happen. You can talk about the promise, but that can't really be delivered until you read it, so I can't say you should be buying this because I think it could get cool. You should be buying it because it looks amazing. if you are the kind of person who looks at comic books as an artistic medium, like visual medium first and foremost, that uses that to tell story, this is one of the better ones you're going to see. Certainly in recent weeks, I think it's fantastic. I think like Ultimate Spider-Man could learn a little bit from sometimes being, if you were going to go like the slightly cleaner route for action sequences, this works really fantastically. It is cinematic in how it does action sequences. I do love it. I think if you're wanting story, you kind of have to accept that there's unexpected things which might happen, but I am excited to see what they might be, and I really hope it's going to deliver on it. That's it for me for now, though. I've got some extra cool stuff to review this week, so make sure you're checking me out. Until I see you again, though, look after each other, everyone. Stay safe. Bye!